you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the safety of our schools affects our students, our staff, and the community. So that's where that comes in. It's a direct effect if our schools are safe. And there was comments made about fencing, etc. Whatever the priority is of our community, that's what you've seen. So you've seen some places with added fencing. Um, all of it hasn't been done, obviously. That's why we're considering some bonds. Many of our schools have not been looked at. So there are a lot of gaps in what's transpired. And again, not to the fault of anyone, but it's a process and it's expensive. So we want to be in a place where our schools are safe. This community has experienced, like not many communities, a tragedy. So we do want to be in front of that, and it is a priority.
Follow-up question.
Follow-up question, you can ask the question now, ma'am.
Thank you. So this is going, like you stated, all 54 schools. And I know we had just an incident at the School for Adults. Is that going to help also assist them for safety? Because it doesn't state what schools or, and what is actually going to be in each of the school sites, because all the school sites, they have different needs.
It is a requirement for the state of California for all of us to have a school plan for safety. So that's what it is. It's a review of our safety plan. I don't think we have control of isolated incidences, but it does review and it will update protocol for the various incidences that could happen, right? If there's an intruder, in this case, what and who is involved. We're fortunate, and I just want to make sure that I'm public in this. We're fortunate that we do have public safety in our district because we get immediate response. And, we've had some incidences with students on campus with things they shouldn't have had, and the response has been quick. So we're fortunate that we have that. It's usually what you get from the city if you have SROs. So that part has helped us. But still, I think that our protocols are not up to date. I believe that our principals also need some training. I think our teachers need training on what is current. What was practiced in the past is not necessarily what's practiced today. I think the best example of what we've learned with safety procedures is, we had an incident way back with Columbine, and then what's practiced now, we're not asking folks to stay indoors. Once there's a clear line, we're trying to evacuate. Very different than what was trained early on. So these are all things that we need to bring up to speed, bring our staff up to speed with. And the fact that we have first, second, third year principals to challenge. They have a lot to learn, and having them develop a plan on their own is not fair, especially because we've not had consistency in terms of how this has been overseen in the district. So the recommendation is here so we can bring our schools up to the level of safety that I think our community, our teachers, our students, and our families need.
Comment?
You have a comment?
Yes.
Ms. Flores?
A few years ago, I was a after-school facilitator over at San Joaquin School, and we had an emergency. As a facilitator in the after-school program, we were provided training from our SUSD PD staff. What's the difference from then to now that we have to spend $226,800 of funding to go on consultants again, when we should have qualified staff already who can do this? We are many times brought to the board people who you want us to approve in these positions, and you give them high accolades and you tell us how qualified they are and how experienced they are. And then 2-3 months later, we're getting a consultant contract paying them $226,000, telling us that they need help and that they're not all the way up to speed as to our processes and such, etc., whatever you guys decide to tell us. So I think this is not a smart move on spending money, although we are having safety issues. That's why we should have a qualified person who can handle this in our SUSD PD department. I was trained. I knew whether we were a new principal or not. And principals that you bring on, no disrespect to any other principal, but if we're going to hire them, you're telling us that they're qualified to handle this. And if not, $226,000 is a lot of ESSER funding to spend on that.
President Mendez, if I could.
Yes, yes, you can respond.
So first of all, you don't have to approve it. That's your choice. And at $4,200 per site for the safety of our staff and students, I don't think that's a significant amount. At least that's my opinion. I think that the challenge we have, and I say it often, is we've had a lot of change. We're talking about turnover today. You've had turnover for decades. We have it documented. Your reports from West Ed, FICMAT clearly state our problem in the district is lack of continuity in leadership and across the board. So these are things that aren't there. We don't have a person in charge of safety on the instructional side of the house yet. We need to work that out. We're facing issues that exist and they're real. And a qualified principal, we have the president of our principals union there. Qualified principal does not mean they have the experience of being a principal. Qualified principals means they have the experience to take on the role of principal. So when you have a new person in that place, they're not experts at that. They may have developed some of it as an assistant principal. They may have some of those skill sets, but when you jump into the position, there's a myriad of responsibility that come with it. So I'm not bringing you something other than a issue that exists in our district and a solution for us to bring about improvement. And that's what we've been looking at. So I do want to emphasize that. And that's an average, right? Obviously, it's going to be possibly a little different for a high school than an elementary school, but that's really what it comes down to, about $4,200 per site. And I would challenge us to look at that if there was an issue on our campus and we take that number 4,200 and we look at what's going on. You know, we just had an incident this last year in a neighboring school in the county, in a neighboring county, where there was a major issue on campus. Was that worth $4,200? That's something that I would ask. Safety doesn't have a value, and it's something that's really important.
I would like
Question?
to say then, I have sat down with several principals, and they are concerned about their safety. They're concerned about the safety of children. They're concerned about the homeless coming into the school, how to deal with it, how to manage it. They're trying the best. All of us are trying after COVID-19. When COVID-19 was here, I'm letting you know, all workers are going through so much stress. Everybody's going through so much stress. And I understand this, but when the principals sit down with me out of the blue and call me 2 or 3, and then another ones, they come in and sit down with me, I sit down with them. They told me, you know, sometimes I don't feel safe. People sometimes come in my office and I think they want to hurt me. They want to hurt my teachers. So I don't know what to do. I think then if this is the best we can do right now, and it's up to us if we voted yes or no. I wanted to thank you, and I wanted to thank principals and teachers, and they put up with a lot. I know, and many workers of SUSD put up with a lot. And while we're paying them, maybe my colleagues, right, Zachary, they only get $15 an hour. Maybe we can do better, but we do better for everybody. So I want to thank you for that. This is all I'm going to say. If there's any more questions, let's take it to a
Question.
robocall. You want to,
One more question.
one more question.
As I know that we have unions, and my concern is, was this vetted through OE3? Because they're public safety and they're union.
No, as it's not an issue related to police. It's an issue of safety on school campuses.
But my question is OE3 okay with this contract?
It wasn't vetted through OE3 because it doesn't fall into their responsibilities. This is school site safety as it's managed by the principal.
Scott McBride.
Thank you, Scott.
As we're looking at OE3, that's a policing situation or a supervision of support for public safety. However, our campus security officers, they're on the inside. They need to be able to enact these plans and to immediately respond with the people on site, the principals, the teachers, and the staff, and get that out there. And I got to tell you, working my experiences with campus security, my personal experiences, the injuries I've personally sustained and seen, trust me, this is relatively nothing. And at $4,200 per, very little. I had extent when I, thank you.
Any more comments?
Trustee Rico?
Trustee Rico?
Okay, I'm gonna speak not as a board member, I'm gonna speak as a parent. Last Thursday, my daughter got home so scared because there was a homeless people following her. She attended Franklin High School. Franklin High School is surrounding for these people. So we need to secure those high schools. And I'm not talking about as board member, I'm talking about as parent. Thank you.
Any more questions? Hear none, roll call vote.
President Cecilia Mendez,
Yes.
Clerk Alicia Rico,
Yes.
Vice President Zulueta,
Yes.
Trustee Maria Mendez,
I hope this doesn't take any jobs or positions from our public safety department. I know that we do need it and I am going to support it. My vote is yes.
Trustee Avalar,
My vote is yes.
Trustee McBrien,
Yes.
Trustee Flores,
No.
motion passes 6-1 with Trustee Angelann Flores voting no.